Welcome gamers to the start of a new Let's Play series of Airships Conquer the Skies. This is an exceptional game. I've been trying to think of the best way of actually just very quickly describing what it does and why it is so damn good. And I think the best way is just to go to the Steam page and we'll just quickly have a look through and I'll show you why. Right, so you can see through here, construct mighty steampunk airships and fly them into battle. You can see there's also tanks as well, waging war and conquering the skies and the land. The thing that really strikes me with this is there's been a fair few people reviewing the game. You can see through there like 4,600, and its rating is 96%, which is exceptional. You don't get very many games that actually rate that high. It came out, the release date really was back in 2018, but it has felt like an early access game for many years, and it just has gotten better and better and better. Like every few months there's actually big improvements to the game itself. You can see through here the recent reviews are actually 97%. There we go. So it really is an amazing game. Other things to do with the game, if we have a quick look down into here and just do the read more, you can sort of see that you've got like the aspect of building your ships, battling your ships, which is amazingly good, hunting different sorts of monsters, and then there's a conquest mode, which is what we'll be playing in our particular playthrough. Also, one of the other things with the game, which really does sort of, I guess, show off its exceptional abilities or exceptional popularity, is if you go to the community hub for the game and then just go to the workshop, there are thousands of mods that people have made. Most of them are just sort of ships and so on and so forth, but there are other things you can get as well. Like this is, so you can see it's all been classified into different sorts of areas, but there are also like complete rebuilds and things. If we go to most subscribed, I guess, in fact, if we just do it in through here, if we go to most popular over the course of, say, 6 months, you just get a bit of a feel for what's going on. So you've got like various other mods that are really quite exceptional that have been sort of brought into the game. Some of them are cosmetic. Some of them do actually change the base game as well. Some of them add new equipment, lots and lots of different sorts of ships, so on and so forth. It really is an amazingly good game. City upgrades expanded. This one here gives you different sorts of buildings. You can then sort of build in your cities, which we'll get into. I don't have that mod installed, but anyway, that's sort of where we are with the game. There's also AI fleets, which I have actually downloaded a few of those for our gaming pleasure when we actually get into it. But it really is, I can't rate this game highly enough. It is just exceptional. And with the coming DLC, if we just go back to the store page, there is actually a DLC which is coming out any day now. So this is the Heroes and Villains. It says available, like it doesn't actually have a date, but it literally is within a day or so at time of recording. So by the time you're watching this, there's a very good chance this will then become available. This one here, you can recruit ship captains and city governors to your cause. There's about 60 of them in the game, and they have pros and cons as well with what they can then go and do. There's a lot in this as well, a lot of aspects. I won't go through it in detail. We'll actually just have a look at this when we start to sort of see things. But it gives you more of a role play aspect of the game, like in quite a nice way, the way it has been implemented. It's quite different than most other sorts of games, and a lot of the decisions that the developer, and it's just a single indie developer, just David Stark, that he has made with the game, have really been well thought through to actually try to sort of position it in exactly the right spot that this sort of game needs to be. So he's looked at other successful games and then realised, well, that wouldn't work in this instance, but if I did this, it would actually, I could get something to work better. I can't give you specific examples, but there's a lot of that does go on, even with the fact with these actual characters that he has brought into this one here with the heroes and villains. The thought process, and he wrote a little bit of information about how he looked at other games, for example, like RimWorld and Crusader Kings 3 as two different ways of approaching characters, and decided that neither one was going to fit his game. So he's actually come up with a fairly unique system that it does work really, really quite well. It does give you a story element to the game that gives you a meaningful connection to the characters that you end up getting hold of. Anyway, let's get into the actual game itself, and I think that's enough of a bit of an introduction as to what the game does offer in a very superficial way, and we'll now just go and play Conquest mode. Actually, before I get into that, I will just go through the options that you have to then go and play. So you've got like a tutorial series it's been a long time since I've actually done these, but I think that they were pretty good from memory, pretty quick. I certainly did all of the tutorials. There's about 9 or 10 of them. It does change the loadout of what I've got. I've got the version 1.2 of the game, and I've got the beta version of Heroes and Villains. So this is just the pre-release version before it actually does get released. So I don't know if there'll be many changes at time of release than the version that I've actually got in here. So we'll certainly sort of start off by playing this series with that particular version and then sort of move forward from there. Conquest is what we're going to be playing. You can also just design and fight your various airships just in like as a battle simulator. And this is actually where the game started, was like just doing a combat simulator for steampunk airships, and which is fairly cool. But the conquest mode really brings it all together into an actual campaign. Missions, again, are just more sort of types of missions that you can then sort of try to work your way through particular problems. In fact, I can open these sorts of things up just so you can sort of see. There's not very many there. I'm assuming there would be other ones you could download from online, I would imagine. You can certainly create your own missions. I don't know if I should show... Yeah, maybe we'll just have a quick click on that one. I just wanted to sort of give you a bit of a feel for all the different sorts of things that you can then sort of bring back in. So these are all of the various, like you've got different types of terrain. So you've got like a hill forest in this sort of instance, or a rocky meadow, or ruins, which we're not going to see too much sort of different in through there. Different bogs, lowland ruins back and through this side. Hill forest. Now this has actually gone through with a stormy night, but you've got like daylight, overcast, nighttime, winter dawn, where the trees are all bare. It's amazing, the game. Like, there's a lot in this that you just don't realise. When there is actually a snowstorm, there's other aspects, like fires will occasionally go out in a snowstorm. If you go with a storm itself, like an actual storm, you're then going to have lightning damage potentially as well. So fires may go out on their own, but beware of lightning. So lightning can cause damage to your airships. So there's a lot of options in the game, and when you're playing the conquest mode, of course, like a lot of these things are just sort of generated randomly. So anyway, let's just leave that one. I just wanted to show that. Oh, before we do leave, these are the mods I'm going to be playing with, by the way. And so most of these are just AI fleets. So these are just going to be fleets that the AI will then get to play with. I do actually have a mod that I created called DasTactic's difficulty tweets, and I will be playing that with that as well, and choosing one of the custom difficulties that I've actually created in that particular mod. So they're available on Steam, I believe. It's been a little while since I actually built that, so I can't remember exactly what I've done with it. But anyway, it should be available. So there we go. We'll just go back out, leave that area. So that's your missions. You've got a multiplayer aspect as well, where again you can either design and fight in multiplayer or play conquest in multiplayer. And of course, with that, with conquest, you can decide to play as in a cooperative sense. So if you like playing multiplayer cooperatively, then you can play conquest in a cooperative manner. Replay, you can actually look at your replays back and through this side. Settings and information, just sort of go through the various sort of settings, and there are a lot of things you can tweak in the game as well. But let's just go into conquest mode. So we're just going to go to new game, and I will then sort of explain exactly what we're going to be doing here. Now, this is, I've just called it Dasburg, the actual city that we're going to be playing with. And with this one through here, what we can then go and do is to edit the arms back into this side, where there's a heap of different aspects, and depending on what you choose, it will then actually give you different sorts of benefits. Now, there's a lot of them, as you can sort of see through here, and these have been added more and more as we've had more and more content added to the game itself. And so a lot of these end up actually adding in things for the conquest mode and for all of the different things that have now come in with conquest mode as well, like the diplomacy, trade deals, so on and so forth. They're all now part of this particular benefit system that you can get. You can also choose a whole lot of different things down through here, for example, that don't give you any bonus at all. So you can actually go without a bonus. If we just go and leave that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll 3 times and choose the one I like the best out of this one. So I'm just going to go to random arms. So the first one is double research from research treaties. Don't think I'll worry about that one through there. This is crossed keys is what we actually have through there. So that's 1, so cross keys. The second one is plus 100 income from pillaging. I don't really want to be doing that one. That looks like it's a boar's head. And the last one is low reputation decreases unrest. Don't really want that either. I'm going to give myself one more mulligan. Plus 20 income. I'll go with that one through there. This is a chalice. So we'll go with this. So we did 4, the best of 4. I could have gone with the first one, I guess, but anyway, we'll just go with this one. Now, in terms of the actual editing the arms, I will just change it into the right sort of colours. So we have a whole lot of different sorts of heraldic terms that we can sort of then go and do. Like chief means that it's above another colour. Canton means it's in the corner. Flaunches back in through this other side. Let's go that way. That looks fine. Let's go and change the... If I hover over different areas, we can then sort of see what is going to be impacted by the colour. Let's make this into a sort of magenta purple, and we'll make the side area say black. Oops, hang on. Yep, there we go. So actually, that has not wanted to do that one. So let's just go back to that one again, and the side panels. It wants to do something a bit lighter, I think. Yeah, it doesn't want to grab that and one of the dark colours. Will it allow that? No, it won't allow that either. Let's just go black in the middle there. I'm not sure why it won't actually accept this. If we go to here to the actual symbol itself, yeah, it's accepting that, but it needs to have the contrast for whatever reason. It's not actually allowing us to choose the contrast. So, look, I'll just go this way, where we end up with silver essentially as for the actual chalice itself, and then gold on the outside. That'll do. So we'll just go and leave. That's going to be our symbol for Dasburg. The hero, now we don't actually have a random hero. There's only 7, 8, I think there's 8 to choose from at this point. I don't know if there'll be more added, but there are 60 in the game. Now, when I first started looking at it, I thought, oh, it's a bit light on only having 8 that you can play with in the game, but there's actually a lot more in the game that you can actually sort of then go and choose. So I'm just going to go and roll a dice and see what we end up getting. We ended up with a 1. Okay, so this is Imogen Caloras. This is an architect. So we have maintenance cost is $5. She is a city governor. So minus 40% upgrade cost in the city and plus 50% upgrade speed in the city. That's good. So we're going to be able to upgrade the city very, very quickly. Plus 5 from construction of a city upgrade is the loyalty factor. So she likes doing that one. But she doesn't like spy actions. So that's going to be something where as we do spy actions, it's going to then impact her loyalty. And she does get experience from doing these city upgrades. So we'll select her as our actual starting hero. Each of the heroes, by the way, have different aspects. They either come in as governors for the cities or captains, one of the two. And so they have various aspects. Now, we'll pick up others during the course of the game as well. So we will actually have others we can then go and choose. So we'll just choose her, so that will be all okay. Back over through here, if we have a quick look and see what we're doing, we've got direct control, allows you to take direct control of individual ships. If we don't have that one selected, I think we can come in with the flagship, but then the AI will control the others, so it is better to have all of those. Reputation is a mechanic in the game that sort of works in a bit with diplomacy. Diplomacy's empires can be at peace, make treaties and enter alliances. Coronation victory back in through there as well, so we can sort of, if we get enough reputation and enough cities, we can then sort of claim the empire, which is what we'll sort of probably aim for. You can have an alliance victory, a supply system there as well, which really does do amazing things with the game. We can have an optional auto resolve, just so we can actually go into that one if we need to. Map size will be medium. Difficulty, this is actually my mod, so I've got a bit hard but no starting ship. So we'll start without a ship, that way we have to then go and build it up. In terms of the land, I'll just go mixed between continent and archipelagos, and monsters will keep default, and research will just have on slow, and we'll start on tier 1, just so we've got a bit of a start. If you start on tier 0, it's a bit of a slower progression into the game because it's very difficult to then take over territory with a tier 0, so you have to sort of build up your techs first. But I think going to tier 1 would at least allow us to then get into the action fairly fast. Anyway, let's go and start the game. Right, in we go. So let's go through the user interface to start with. So here we are with Dasburg. So we've got a few little things. I'll go through the actual map because there's been some changes with the way that the maps are presented, and it's really, really cool what David, the developer, has actually done with the game in terms of the information that's available to you in the game. It's quite streamlined and makes perfect sort of sense. Now we did turn on the hints, and we'll have a look at these over time. These are worth having on, even if you just ditch them, like if we just get rid of them. Like pick a technology, but you can just go show me how, and it'll actually then just go through exactly what to click on to actually then do different things. So send a spy to a foreign city to gain information, show me how, it'll then tell you exactly what to do. But we'll have a look at that ourselves. So we'll do an analysis. So I'll just go and throw these away. You can build a market in Cetus. Now sometimes when it does advise things like this, it is worth knowing that it thinks that that's a good idea, but we'll actually have a look. Cetus is back over here. This is like a small port town that we actually have, and we'll have a look at that in just a minute. Here we go. We're going to make a trade treaty as well with Black Spire. We'll talk about all these different things. Non-aggression pact with UI Quoma, backing through these different areas. So let's have a look and see what we've got on the actual map itself. So WASD, just to sort of move things around. You'll notice that Dasburg is our main city, which has got like the larger sort of indicator there of the actual city in the middle there. And so this one we can see we've got a person in through here, which is Imogen. Imogen is the one in control of Dasburg. And we then have the different benefits that she then provides for Dasburg. Now Dasburg doesn't need a lot of what she's got just yet. When we have a look at the different things we actually have in through this side as well, we then have the, we're getting 57 coming from Dasburg itself, and you can see there's a negative 15 because of pirates. So the pirates are actually over here, and they're just on the inside of our border. We're going to have to deal with them. So we want to deal with them fairly early if we can, and we don't know exactly what we're up against at the start, so we may have to sort of just go and do a bit of a scouting mission to sort of see what actually does happen through there. So they're off the road, which means we have to basically send in some actual airships. We can't use land ships or tanks. We can't sort of send like a tank force. Tank forces can move along the roads and attack anything on the actual roads themselves. So having a look at the roads, you can sort of see that we've got a branch of the road in through this side with Dagger Guild. It goes down to Dagger Guild and across to Cetus, but it also bypasses Cetus as well. So the road actually can be used to bypass and go directly into the ocean. So we can, and you can see there's other little branches off through this other sides as well. The roads become more important later on. So this one here, it then crosses. This one goes through, for example, this little town. So if we didn't have control of that town, we wouldn't be able to get onto that part of the road. We'd be able to move through here where it bypasses a town. By the way, the maps are all random, so this is just a completely random map. This is interesting as well. Like sometimes when you play the game, you don't have anything like this sort of interactivity through the middle of the actual map itself. This is quite an interesting map in terms of where you can go in the water. Now in the Sea of Spines, there's actually no ports at all that actually allow you to go anywhere through there. So anything across here will have to either be done along this long road all the way out through here if you're using land tanks, or through airships if they were coming from here, for example, and across to the other location. So that's actually that's the sort of loadout through there. If we have a bit of a look at other things we have, so we've got the pirates back up through there. I can click on them. A group of pirates to set up a base here from which to conduct their raid. So they'll go off and start to raid. Now, when they start to raid, they could raid anywhere, even though they're in our territory. They could raid any of the little towns. So we do need to get up to a position where we can then take these things on. Also, we have other positive things, like for example, down in here we have incense. So incense is much sought after for a variety of religious ceremonies. So it gives -5 unrest in each city and plus 20% income from trade treaties. So if we can get trade treaties, the incense is going to give us extra income coming in from those. Now we don't get much from trade treaties, but this is where the game becomes sort of more complex in a good way, more involved, I guess, rather than complex would probably be the way of sort of thinking about it. So it actually then becomes quite an interesting aspect of the way that the game is presented. So we'll actually go through, and if we click over Dagger Guild, we don't actually have anything. It's just a base of 10. This one's a base of 9. We'll come back to those in just a minute. As we have a look at other things, there's things like heretics. These are sort of like a hidden cult and there may be other factions that are also part of these hidden cults. There's things, for example, like crashed wasp's nest. These aren't too difficult to destroy. We've got a couple of those that are now on those particular lands in through there. The easiest one is bandits, if we can find some bandits somewhere. These are very difficult, the clockwork cubes. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else in through there. Dissident scholars, mad scientists, these are very difficult to dislodge. Pirates are probably, on this particular map, are probably going to be the easiest of them, but it's still going to be fairly difficult to get rid of them. Usually there's at least one bandit somewhere, and it's just a nice way to ease into the actual combat in the game itself, but the pirates will have to be what we actually contend ourselves with. Right, so that's the actual map itself. We then have a whole lot of different map modes. So the first one is just show map. The next one is show diplomatic relations. Now, at the very start of the game, it's all going to be peace, so there's no real need to have a look at that one. But we can actually go across and see, okay, well, what are the treaties from this perspective? We can go from the perspective and see what perspective they actually have back in through here. By the way, you can sort of see that there are other things, like this one's got a gold mine, gives them plus 20 income if we can grab Uncton. So Uncton would be a good one for us to get. You can see there, ultimately, we've got a whole lot of different sorts of statuses, diplomatic status, that will then show up in this particular map mode. This map mode is a really nice way of very quickly getting information about the game. Showing alliances back in through here as well. This one, we don't actually have any alliances this early. The next one is showing unrest. Now, at this stage, our lands are fine. There's no unrest. Sometimes you'll find that you've actually got like a bit of a claim in other territories where the unrest will be low if you take it over. So in this case, we've got between 0 and 10 unrest, but it can get pretty high over time. And this is again where your characters may have a role to play with the unrest in different locations that you do take over. It's quite interesting how the characters can impact the way that you approach the game, which is actually, again, very, very cool. Next one is a new one, which is show defenses. And so this one here then shows us, when we sort of scroll in a little bit, we've got weak defenses, you can see down through here, weak defenses in Cetus and Dagger Guild, but we actually have decent defenses back in Dasburg. So Dasburg itself has got some pretty good defenses. If we click on Dasburg and then click on defenses, we can then sort of see that we've got these two towers, which have got like a lot of musketmen or riflemen sort of sitting in amongst the towers themselves, so which is cool. So that's why they're so strong. If we go across to Dagger Guild, click on Dagger Guild and then go to its defences, we can then sort of see that these are much smaller, much lower quality, but it's still there no matter what. This is a desert terrain, by the way, so if we just leave that one through there, if we just go back, and then we've also got showing the adjacency. Now the adjacency can be important as well if we go and have a bit of a look at this. So the adjacency from our perspective, and we can look at it again from each perspective of each location to sort of see what their adjacency actually is, but we'll just do it from Dasburg. So Dasburg has got, and this is actually province by province, not the actual kingdoms, and so if we have a look at this one here, so connected to the capital of Dasburg, so all of our locations are connected to Dasburg. If we had something that was in between, like if we controlled Okut, we don't actually have a connection directly to Dasburg, and so the Okut would then become this greenish sort of dot in the middle of it. If we have a location like this one, this is connected to the capital if we conquer it. So these become sort of like more viable places for us to go and conquer, including Uncton. We do actually have a road network that goes straight up into Uncton. So Uncton is something that would be viable, and I think that would be cool to get just because of the gold mine that's actually there. There's a lot of stuff in here as well that we may want to sort of try to destroy over time. So there's a few different things there we have access to. Plus we also have this port, which means that these locations are also viable for us to go and conquer straight away. There's just a few little isolated areas that we don't have access to initially. So that actually works fairly well. Disconnected if conquered. So we've got other locations. Now we're not going to sort of see any of those just yet. And then not adjacent to your lands is also, you know, the ones that we're sort of seeing back in through here. So they're all the different map modes which work very, very well. Other things we can have a look at. We have our income back up through this side, and we have so the income, if we hover over that one, in fact, if we go to Empire and click on Empire, we then get to see what the income actually is, the budget. So the base is 20 from being wealthy. The cities give us 76. The heroes are -5. The defense maintenance is -3. No other maintenance. So the total is 88 coming in per every 2 weeks, so every fortnight. And so that's actually how the money sort of is then working. That will change a lot over the course of the game as we sort of start to build up our fleets. We'll get less and less. The reports we actually have in through here, or reputation. So people consider this empire to be about as good or bad as any other. And so it's funny, actually, we've got a very low number here, which we're going to have to be a bit careful of. Reputation, though, is an aspect that we can then use diplomatically. And this sort of allows us, if we go to the next thing over here, this is the... to become emperor, you need to have 80 reputation and control 7 cities to crown yourself emperor. We only have 1 city at the moment, and we don't have 80. So to get reputation, we then have to do things like in wars to sort of win the wars and then take reputation from that. It's a mechanic that we do want to be trying to protect if we can. If we go back into Empire, I think there are medals in through here which we're not really sort of using. Actually, I don't even know what these. Once a medal has been awarded, it can't be changed anymore. So we can actually go and edit these. So okay, this can then be given to various commanders, I believe. So I'm not sure what the cost is. I haven't used these, so I don't know what the medals actually are. Bonuses back and through there. You can research new technologies, reputation tolerated. So people consider the Empire to be as good as bad as the others. And we are wealthy, so we do have a plus 20 income coming in overall. Now, the next thing is diplomacy. So let's have a quick look at that one. So if we have a look at this one, this is where it's very, very simple. When we have a look at this one, it's very simple, but has a real interesting sort of web network of how this can ultimately, and very quickly, it'll become a very intricate system that we then are sort of operating on the planet, in this particular map with. And so if we have a look at, for example, let's have a look at a few of them that might be of interest. Now, we're interested in looking at Ulquoma is something that we might be able to target. We could also target Atterbury as well. So these would be viable, and Tadlarak as well would be all viable options for us to then sort of go after. So if we go and have a look at the diplomacy, and we have a look at Ulquoma, you can see that these are craven, so easily frightened and bullied. So we can sort of push this one around if we wanted to, which we probably actually will try to do that one. They're a similar strength to us at this stage. In fact, everyone is similar strength. Nobody is actually ended up being beyond what we actually are. So they're craven. We then actually had Atterbury, which is cooperative, so this builds strong alliances. So these may be worth being friendly with rather than actually trying to dominate them. So it could be viable to have a friendly group, not nice and close to us, so that we can end up in an alliance with. So they would be nice and reliable. And then the other one that we had was Tadlarak. They're also cooperative. Which way do we want to go? I don't know which one we prefer to do, but these are both fairly friendly. And if we go to make offer, this is actually one of the things we can now just go and do. If we go and look at Atterbury, actually, hang on, just press OK for a second. What benefits do they actually have? So they've got opium, minus 10 unrest in each city, minus 10 construction speed, and plus 40% income from trade treaties. So we've already got our plus 20% income from trade treaties there with the incense. Do they have anything in here? Not really. So they've got the Spire of Learning. So built by an old empire, still inhabited by a flock of aging scholars. It gives plus 15% research, which would be quite nice to sort of then move along the research trees with that particular one. I don't know if I want to be friendly with any of those, to be honest. It's interesting. It seems to be sort of out on its own. Actually, no, it's part of this group. I don't know why it's a different colour there. It's unusual. So it may be that we actually look more at having friends that are further afield, but it would probably, let's just pick one of these as a possible friend. Maybe we'll pick this one in here as a friendship, although it is nice and isolated. So maybe we'll go this way here, where there is actually openings back out into the ocean, and it can bypass the city itself. So we'll make this one our friend. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get this once we do this, so let's just go across with diplomacy, Tadlarak, make an offer. Now, we can only do it if we have a net positive, so we can actually do things, for example, like have a trade treaty with them, so your income is increased by 10% of theirs and vice versa. So let's go and do that. So we'll just go and offer. If it's a plus, it's just automatic. It's not as if they have to think about it. We can give, like if we give 300, they'll gratefully accept it. That will get it up to +5. So we can start to string things together, like a research treaty, for example. If we gave 300 plus the trade treaty, that would give us +5. We could then do a -5 and get it down to even again, and get a trade treaty and a research treaty. By the way, with these treaties, these are only viable if you actually do have connection, direct connection. Was there anyone that actually, I think we could connect to everyone actually ultimately. So I don't think that in this particular map, I don't think that would be an issue anywhere. There's so many different things you can do with this. It really is quite cool. So if we go and do the trade treaty, but say, look, we would prefer to receive 200 because we do need some money. That way we can actually sort of just milk a little bit and demonstrate submission, using 6 reputation and gaining them 3. Now, we don't want to demonstrate submission. They don't even want us to be honest. There's nothing much else we can do there. But if we go and make the offer, so tell direct, this is a +2. So we'll make that offer. And so we now actually have a trade treaty with them, and we now have got ourselves a little bit more money, which will actually be quite useful. So this is really how simple the diplomacy actually is in the game, which is very, very cool. We've already had a quick look at heroes. If we can just sort of see the summary, we're going to be picking up more over time. And so we do get +5 from construction of a city upgrade, so we will actually start to work on those. Let's have a look at Dasburg. Now, we've got good protection there at the moment, so we're sort of okay. The Fleet Academy. This one we'll check. So a crew starts out as disciplined, so +5 to skills. It does require a bit. The research lab we can't afford just yet. Highway patrol will give us less unrest, which we don't actually need. So there's nothing much in there we can really get at this stage, so let's not bother with that at this point in time. Research, we'll just go into the research. Now, it's weird. I sort of wish that this scroll wheel would actually scroll down through the tree. All it does is compress it. It's WASD keys is really what we have to then sort of look at in through this other side. So we've got everything in tier 0, which is this first tier, in through this side. We then have to sort of go with what we want to do from the other things. Now we can go with free trade, plus 40% income from trade treaties. But I don't think we're going to play that way. I think we might just go back up and get maybe heavy wooden armour. I do like to go and get this one fairly early on. It gives us the bigger shipyard as well, and sponsons is a different sort of weapon we can then put on the actual on the craft. So let's go that way and leave. So we're now now doing research into reinforced hulls, and really we're now sort of ready to. Well, actually, we're not quite ready yet. I think what we'll do in the next episode, or maybe we can just go through, have a quick look and see what we can do in Dagger Guild. There's a lot of things we can build in these small locations. Like a charcoal kiln will give us +5 income. Some of them will give us income and less unrest as well, like the cornfields, the rice fields will be the same. The small mine will actually give us +7, like 2 maintenance cost and +7 income. The difference there is that we basically end up with +5 anyway. So the tavern gives us +7, 2 maintenance and less unrest as well. So that's actually viable. So might as well just go with it, like a tavern or a rice field or anything like that. These actually will then lead to other things in the game as well. This is where the story events start to sort of kick in a little bit. So that's 300. I can build 2 of those, like 1 in each location. So let's go and build a tavern here. So we'll just get the tavern started. So the we do have the incense at this location. If we just go across to this other one over here. Again, we could build another tavern in here if we wanted to. Or we do actually have a port we can get with +10 income. Because it's coming into this location, the port would be very, very viable for us. So let's go and do that. That gets us down to no real money coming in. And so we're sort of now stuck there. Now we are picking up, we go back to the Empire and go back to the budgets. We now start to see that the trade treaty is bringing in 6 per 2 weeks. Every fortnight we're getting 6 coming in that way. So that's good. We now got 94. We just now need to start to sort of load things up. What we might do in the next episode is actually then go and build ourselves or design ourselves not a spaceship, an airship, and get ready for essentially moving around, defending against the pirates. We could use land ships as well, and it is fun to sort of set the game up in different sorts of ways. So it could be fun to actually design a land ship, which tend to be a little bit cheaper, but you do need to have them connected by roads. And initially, we're just going to be trying to move across to if the pirates come and raid us, we can sort of then stop the pirates. But anyway, we'll leave that for the next episode. So thanks for watching. That's probably an episode 0 where we haven't really done much in this episode. So I'll do an episode 1 next. Thanks for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing and all that great stuff. I'll catch you in the next episode.